Hey, sorry, got a little carried away there, just messing around with what started off as Death Don't Have No Mercy. I got Reverend Gary Davis and country blues kind of on the brain today. I've been listening to a lot of that. That's what's been playing lately. Two completely unrelated things. I've been getting a lot of going in the heavy rotation here. Neil Young and country blues. But I decided when I'm grabbing the guitar, I like playing both of them. The Neil Young songs are really fun to play. But the country blues ones were really grabbing me this week. Stuff like... That's, of course, Blind Blake's That'll Never Happen No More. And anyway, I hope you check out some of our country blues stuff. There's a whole course on some technical things, how to do some of the finger picking and a couple of instrumentals to work on. And then, of course, we got Gary Davis stuff and Mississippi John Hurt, the Blind Blake tune, That'll Never Happen No More. So anyway, country blues. Got to listen to more of it. And actually, how I got listening to it in the first... Oh, by the way, it's the first Friday in February, the 7th. And the way I got into listening to that was from the first Hot Tuna album. You know, I had done a little bit of finger picking. I remember learning from my teacher... that's how the verse went, but anyway, one of the first finger picking tunes I learned, along with stuff like Shades of Funk. And well, okay, I didn't really come here to talk about that today. I had other things on my mind, but now I'm on a roll. I got to play more. Let me think. What are Gary Davis tunes? Oh, stuff like, again, something I first heard on a Hot Tuna album. That is, Sally, where'd you get your liquor? Okay, what I really want to talk about today, though, was two things. One was the first one, camp. I got it, yeah. Good news and bad news. Our spring camp is sold out. I want to welcome the last couple of people that grabbed the last two spots. And we usually get one or two cancellations. So we do have a waiting list. If you want to get on the waiting list or consider coming to the fall one, send an email to support@totallyguitars.com. That'll eventually reach its way to the waiting list. Fall camp is about half sold out, and that's a long time from now. Seems like it's September 8th to the 12th. So if you're thinking about that, you can still sign up for that one online. Spring one is packed. Sorry about that. But anyhow, there's always next year for our smaller spring camp that only has 20 people. Fall camp will have 30, maybe 32. But what I did want to talk about today was a little bit of geography. A long time ago, I don't know how long ago now, I went through a whole thing about knowing the notes on the 6th and 5th strings, knowing that the 3rd, 5th, and 7th frets, we have three important notes, G, A, and B. and learning to recognize the natural notes on the guitar, the white keys on the guitar. Okay, 3rd, 5th, 7th frets. I've got G, A, and B on one string, C, D, and E, continuing the alphabet on the 5th string. Now, one of the things that I've had a lot of students work on lately was ear training, but recognizing the 3 important chords. I've got 4 fingers up because I'm thinking 1, 4, 5. Recognizing the 3 major chords in a key, and being able to whip through them quickly by always playing the same little progression. 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. If I want to do that in the key of G, I'm going to be thinking G, C, G. And let's play chord 5 as a 7th chord just to help the recognition. I'm going to use D7. So there's my little 1, 4, 1, 5, 7, 1 progression. G, C, G, D7, G. Let me slow down for a second. This is always really hard for me because I get so excited talking about this stuff. But hopefully you're familiar there with that set of chords in the key of G. And before I go through the other 4 common keys doing that same thing, I'll give you a chance to do that. What you want to be able to do is rattle off those 3 chords, 1, 4, and 5 played as a 7th chord, in the 5 keys that we play in all the time, which there's a lot of ways you can remember this. It's the open major chords we have. Let's see, I got A, B, nope, C, yep, D, yep, E, yep, F, nope, and G. A, C, D, E, G. Now that also, not completely coincidentally, because those are our 5 different open major chords we can play, spells the word caged, and sometimes that's what that is used for, is to remember our different open shapes. Okay, now what I really wanted to get to was that relationship, seeing them as bar chords. And if we're in the key of E, here's my root for my E chord. Well, the 4th note of an E scale, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, guitar strings are tuned in 4ths. I've talked about this before. An easy way to find a 4th of something is go to the next string at the same fret. Just don't do this on the 3rd string. So if I ask you what's a 4th from F sharp, it's got to be right there. What's a 4th from G? It's got to be right there. Now, where that comes in handy with your 1, 4, and 5 chord progressions that just use those, is E to A is 1 to 4. That's my 2 main shapes. An E shape to an A shape anywhere on the neck is 1 to 4. And if that's 4, that means 5 is here. So we have this little layout like an L shape of chords going from an E shape as 1 to an A shape at the same fret as 4, and then 2 frets higher we get chord 5, which we could play as a 7th chord. So there's my 3 chords in the key of F sharp, as this turns out. F sharp, B, and C sharp 7. Now, we don't play too many songs in the key of F sharp intentionally or without a capo usually, but we could. Now, so the continuation of this story is that any place I can play an E family chord, I've got chord 4 of that at the same fret. So if I happen to be at the 5th fret, I know that my E family becomes an A chord. This starts getting confusing because now we're talking about my A family chord there becomes a D chord. But that's our relationship, 1 to 4 to 5. So if I want to play Brown Eyed Girl, not using open chords, but it's a great example of a song that uses the progression 1, 4, 1, 5. G, C, back to 1, and then to 5. Usually we wouldn't use a 7th chord there. But to play that as bars, I'd be thinking about my E family chord at 3. Chord 4 would be at the same fret out of the A family, back to 1. And then chord 5 would be the A family but 2 frets higher. Sorry, I'm getting carried away again, just screwing around. But the point I wanted to make, I think I just made the point I wanted to, which is get used to the fact that E to A, any place on the neck, is 1 to 4. And now into chapter 2, maybe chapter 3 or 4, further down the road. Any two chords that are 1 and 4 in whatever key are also 5 and 1 in the other key. This is going to take a little while to digest. But in the key of G, G is 1, C is 4. There's my 1 to 4 relationship. Well, in the case of the key of C, where the chords would be C, F, and G, G is 5. There's my relationship in C, 1 to 4 to 5, way up the neck at the 8th and 10th frets. So, if I'm in this key, meaning any chord in the A family of chords, and it's 1 at the same fret in the E family, is 5, the opposite of the 1 to 4 relationship. So dial this in. Any two chords that are 1 and 4 in one key are also 5 and 1 in the other key, the chord that was 4 in the first key. That means if I'm looking for my 1-4-5 relationship and I'm in an A family chord, I know that 5 is at the same fret in the E family. This is where I play a 7th chord. And if this is 5, I can use this to get to 4. I have to go this way. My L is laid out opposite from how it was in the E family. I was just playing something. A bottle of wine. Went from C to G to F and back to C. 1 to 5 to 4 and back to 1 in that case. Okay, I think that's enough of that. Let me see if I can think about one other kind of cool country blues tune to end with today. I did Sally. Oh, here we go. Back in. I can't think of any of these off the top of my head, but Mississippi John Hurt is somebody else who, he would be more considered a folk player, but his songs fit into the category of country blues. So definitely take a look at some of his tunes too. I might have to, I'll save that idea for later. What was I going to play? Oh, how about this one? Another tune from the first Hot Tuna album. kind of a typical, I don't want to, well, a lot of what I just played there was sort of a typical ragtime blues country progression, using some secondary dominant chords. You saw, maybe saw or heard some D7s there, even though I was in the key of C. Okay, there we go. Just the usual, we're rambling with some hopefully helpful thoughts and maybe some entertaining tunes. See you next week.